because it wasn't anything with the actual story. It wasn't the plot, it wasn't the animation, it's not the characters. All of those things, with all of their flaws, I can still forgive. But the company making the show...
Yeah, that's the problem. Like, all of this, like, hatred and stuff is just personal. There's a meme about The Godfather where nothing personal, kid, or whatever. Nothing personal, it's just business, kid. With this whole RWBY criticism and stuff, it's not unbiased at all towards the work. It's completely biased towards the companies and the people and the drama that is surrounding it. If you watch H-Bomber's video, like, the entire thing could just be summarized towards he thinks that Miles and Carrie took over RWBY and made it worse, which is really kind of contradictory on the same point, because he thinks Volume 3 is the best volume and Monty did not work on the show. And he also is just bummed out after reading Shane's letter. He, like, watching the conclusion part is actually very important, because more than anything, he kind of reveals his secret reason as to why he's feeling this way on towards the end, towards the conclusion where he talks about Shane's letter. It's just Shane's opinion, dude. And as much as we should respect Shane for what he did for RWBY, Shane at the end of the day is also just a person who is a person similar to H-Bomber, who is just angry about a lot of things that are happening. Angry at other people, angry at himself, angry about Monty's death, angry towards the existence of death, I guess. We shouldn't let all this anger, control our actions. Stay calm and try to, like, look at our angers and our hatreds, but not be consumed by them.
In short, Rooster Teeth is not a company I want to support. And watching their
here's my understanding. The way I said, you should read the director's commentary and you should find out who the animators are. Directly support Miles, Carrie, or other person based on your understanding of those people. Because yes, I think Judgemental Critter is a really good creator, and as much as I disagree with her opinion, she is right in the sense that blindly giving your money to people who could be bastards is not a great idea. It really never was a great idea, which is why I think it's important that in the future every single creator should start their own YouTube, and every single creator should also post their testimony about what is happening. Like this lawsuit against defamation is really, really bad. It's a very risky law that has been said. It has the potential to do a lot of wrongdoings, especially because when someone is eating all your money or being a giant douchebag, there's no other way to just call out. Like, not saying any names and saying that, certain people in Rooster Teeth production is being an asshole, certain people in Rooster Teeth production is eating all the money or whatever, then it creates this huge Among Us situation where we have to weed out a lot of people, weed out the assholes. With the KDN instance is that, who's to blame, right? People are kind of like acting really weird and trying to accuse the writers of something, despite the fact that them never getting accused of the bad people in name at all. People care about a lot of the show. People care about, justice, and people are getting rightly paid or so. But for some reason, it kind of like turns around and goes back to hating the show and hating the creators, which is kind of dumb. I think at the end of the day, a lot of that could just be associated with dumbness, because people are just so controlled by their hate and emotions that at the end of the day, they're just not thinking straight. They're not looking at the situation and themselves in a straight manner. They kind of just ended up hating the creators, despite the fact that the creators are the ones who are actually being paid less, who are almost the victims on certain occasions, and they are just sticking around because they love the show, they love what they're doing, and like there are certain homophobes running amok, I guess, but we don't know who these people are. I almost wish that people who are complaining about the homophobia just said these people told homophobic stuff. I really want an actual name calling, to be honest. This shit is just so confusing. People not trying to like confront, say what they wanted to say. In my opinion, you definitely shouldn't support someone without knowing much about them. I definitely would like to support the writers of this show, because writing is something that's you can't. It's never something that's really separate from you. It's kind of hilarious that the creators of certain shows like Ender's Game or something is homophobic, despite the fact that Ender's Games is supposed to have a non-homophobic. If anything, it's the exact. It has a message that is the exact opposite of homophobia. So it's kind of like really weird. But if you like listen to a lot of what Miles and Carrie say, especially in the director's commentary and what they say have to say, they're really similar to Team Ruby, and their mentality is very similar to Team Ruby's. I think that's a lot of shows has to like go about it. Yes, there are like anomalies or weird situations where something similar to Death Note, where the main character is kind of a psychopath, and they don't hold any similar opinion to the main character, or the main characters who are creating the show are a lot more edgier than the main characters. Kazutaka Kodaka's Danganronpa series is similar to that. Kazutaka Kodaka is such a based guy. He sometimes says very rude things, but I think characters like Makoto, Hajime, and Shuichi and Kaede are very closer to what Kazutaka Kodaka's hearts, whereas characters like Monokuma tend to show Kodaka's his own edgier sides. There's also a certain aspect about how certain characters of Ruby are based off of certain voice actors.
Is inevitably going to support them in some way. It came to light that Rooster Teeth was casually throwing around transphobic slurs.
This is a really bad thing. I think Judgemental Critter is just kind of like brain farting on a lot of these situations. Because, girl, listen, who's saying this? Because I don't think everyone is saying this. This is just Rooster Teeth and like entire like hundreds of 200 or 300 or thousand people saying the exact same thing. This is just one person's saying, an anonymous person saying towards one person, and then that one person complaining to another anonymous person, and that another anonymous person is saying, chill bro. We don't know who is the name. So essentially we're playing Among Us. Yes, Rooster Teeth is the company, and when you're playing Among Us, you should pay more attention and you should just do your own research. You know, if you truly want to care about your money getting to the right people, do your research. Personally, in my own personal opinion, I think Miles and Carrie are okay people. I genuinely think they're like okay people. Like, it's kind of hard to write a show about Ruby, which is about making hard decisions and go against the law and treating your loved people in a more kind way, and writing a show like that, and also stay as an asshole at the same time. There are certain shows that kind of like are really weird. Like, I kind of understand why certain people kind of hate shows like Death Note, School Days, or Attack on Titan, because you can very well assume that maybe the main characters in those shows are like the self-inserts of the authors. Sometimes that's actually the case, and sometimes that's not the case. I think when you're acting out and making a story where the main character is kind of the main villain of the story, those types of stories are really hard to execute because the writer has to act out and write a completely separate character than themselves, or they have to like dig deep into their own evil counterpart. They just have to reveal themselves, their evil counterpart, to the public. And yeah, I think that's why those type of stories are really hard to write. And in this scenario, we're playing Among Us. So in that sense, do your research. I watched the director's commentary, and from what I have listened to about the documentary and such, I think Miles and Carrie are okay guys. I think Kirsten and Eddie are probably okay too. I definitely need to check out their Twitter more to really know what they think about. Because, at the end of the day, money is important. I mean, it's not really important in the grand scheme of things. I think people at the end of the day should just do what they think is right rather than just follow the trail of the scent of money. So in that sense, money doesn't really matter. If people just do what they think is right all the time, then money really just doesn't matter. It is true that at the end of the day, this show is not just a show. It's being made by people, and whatever the characters are saying, their ideals are created by said people, and the creation never really goes above and beyond the creator, in my opinion. Because the longer and longer you realize, you might think that certain shows like RWBY is amazing, and in a way it's amazing, but at the same time it's amazing because of so many people working on it. Yeah, it's the product of so many people's teamwork, which is why it seems like it's so amazing. But when you like break down certain things, the people who are working behind it in their lives are almost more important than the fiction itself, because the fiction itself is just the window into these people's minds and their talents. Become good at playing Among Us. Just try to weed out who is the trustworthy Rooster Teeth employee and who's not. Because when you're running a teamwork-based work, you kind of have to deal with assholes, you know. Sometimes there are certain animators or there are certain actors who are just assholes, and you just have to live with them, because if you like point out every single person's asshole action, you kind of have to go in a fight. And if you keep fighting one another during production, it's kind of hard to make good shit, especially when there are certain like actions or certain things that certain occupations that doesn't matter whether you're an asshole or not. I don't think like certain animation, especially like you could be a like very talented animator, but you can also be a giant asshole. You can do a lot of professions despite being an asshole. You know, I think YouTuber and stuff and streamer and stuff are really important jobs, because those types of jobs are really hard to do when you're an asshole. Like it's so hard to be a YouTuber and be an asshole at the same time, because as soon as you start being an asshole, people kind of like realize, oh shit, you're just an asshole. This is kind of the reason why Low Tier God, and people just kind of saw who Low Tier God was as who they are. Yes.
Casually throwing around transphobic slurs and racist remarks and overworking their animation staff.
See, this is like one of the biggest issues of overwork. I think people and animators just have to admit that they themselves chose this. Nobody forced you to be an animator. I think when it comes to like overworking and blah 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 and stuff like that, especially when it comes to the entertainment industry, this is a very controversial take, and I don't give a crap if people treat me as the villain. But in my opinion, get good, bruh, and also cope, bruh, because at the end of the day, you chose this path. Like nobody said this was easy. You could always quit, run off after money. You could go out with a politician and sleep with them and gain a huge amount of money. That's a really easy way to fucking make money. Working at an animation industry is really hard to make money. These people are not responsible for you not making any money, because you could always fucking quit, think your salary is not enough. This is why I don't just work at all, because I just kind of like realized that, okay, in order to make money, I need to sell out. And even when I sell out, I'm not making enough money anyway. Like, sure, if someone is saying, oh, you could just like advertise this product and you'll make, I don't know, 10K or like 20K or something like that, which is huge in my opinion, like currently at the situation. But it's really hard for me to do that, because unless it's like a huge stack of money, it's really hard for me to like sell out, because that's just who I am. This is also why I keep doing all of this like 2-hour videos for free, because I think all of this discussion is really interesting. And even if these discussions usually don't even like make a huge amount of views, I still keep doing it, because there are certain very easy ways to make money or even like gain views. It's just that those types of like content It's just not aligning with my inner being, I guess. It's just not aligning with who I am. And as a result, I just don't tend to do that type of stuff. Like I could just go out there and do a servant of some rich guy's, I don't know, right hand man. I can really easily do that. That's a very easy way to make money. The option is there. It's just that my body is just not moving towards that direction. So in that sense, I think people and the animators are especially like flawed in the sense that, especially people who are complaining about money, you could always quit this. You could always become a YouTuber like this. You can always quit Rooster Teeth and go to Japan and become an animator there. It's not going to change jack shit because those type of people are also going to charge you for shit. People just have to realize that animation as an industry is a fucked up business simply because it's not mandatory, you know. Art in general is not mandatory. This is why, like, web novel, if you're buying books on Amazon, you're a generous person and you're also an idiot, in my opinion. And it's okay. It's okay to be an idiot because sometimes clever people who are greedy after money is really people who are lost their souls. So in that sense, it's better to be an idiot who's true to themselves. Because truth be told, something like a web novel or novels, if you're a novelist, you should forget about making money. Like, you just think you're sacrificing yourself. Because web novel making and like writing in general has become such a competitive market. Like, it's kind of like baffling how certain people buy books on Amazon. I'm just going to say it straight up. Because if you're buying books on Amazon, you're kind of a dumbass. Because technically you're supporting Amazon, which is too huge of a business. And also Jeff Bezos is kind of an evil. He's too rich of a guy. He's also kind of evil, in my opinion. He's kind of an irky guy. Like, there are certain like arguments as to whether he's evil or not. But Jeff Bezos is kind of an evil guy. And also, there are so many free books. In my opinion, what you should do is you should watch rwby for free. You should watch or read web novels for free. And when you get so accustomed to this person and you convince yourself that, okay, this person is like my brother. I know this person. This person is like such a kind-hearted and such a good person that this person needs help. And I want this person to live a happy life and be rich and you'll not starve to death. Then you should give your money to that person, to a trusted person. And I have a few content creators who I resonate with, who I have similar opinions to, who I think, this person is a really good person. You know, not just this person is funny or not just this person is talented. Because, you know, a lot of talented people are also super evil. You know, Hitler was a really talented guy. Like, he was a strategic genius. Genghis Khan was a really talented guy. He was a strategic genius. You won't like conquer the half of this planet without being a genius. But at the same time, you're kind of evil. And I think at the end of the day, whether someone is a genius or not, whether someone is talented or not, is scientific. There's a little big misconception that people make that, oh, certain people are extremely talented, therefore they're also a good person. That's a donkey ass way to see about it. There are so many talented, powerful people who are evil, and there are so many powerful and talented people who are good people. You know, power is scientific. It's not. It's amoral. Morality doesn't matter to science. There are people who are really good at using guns, such as Ruby and Yang or Team Ruby, like who are like kind of the good guys. And there are people who are really good at fighting and using guns, and such as Mercury, types of guys who are just evil assholes. So you really gotta look deep into this kind of stuff.
While paying them far below the industry standard, forced to work unpaid overtime, and constant...
Yeah, this is my opinion. Just quit, bro. Like, just quit. Quit your job. Like, it's your own fault for, like, succumbing to your own fears and then overworking yourself and then, like, go around and complain about this. Just quit, bro. Just quit. Quit, bro. Like, be lazy. It's kind of like, oh, your own fault for getting paranoid about being jobless and then overworking yourself and then complaining about these people. All this complaint is also kind of bullshit. At the end of the day, it's the opinion clash, you know. I might sound like the villain here, and Judgemental Critter might sound like the hero for defending these creators. But at the same time, unless you're like someone is putting a gun to your head and is saying, okay, if you don't work on this show and Ruby, we're going to kidnap your family and kill you. Unless like someone is saying that, you have options. It's optional to work at Rooster Teeth. It's optional to work at Ruby. Yeah, they might shout out some like mean comments for you leaving, or I don't know, blacklist you or some whatever. But that's such bullshit, you know. Blacklisting can happen for whatever reason. And I don't think even blacklist, nobody, any director or any company owner who has the right mind in their state doesn't take blacklisting very seriously. And as an animator, you have so many options. You can go to on YouTube and like make a YouTube channel if you're really charismatic, and you might get success there. You might work at Rooster Teeth and make a success there, or you might go and work on a video game industry and make success there. You don't have to work on Rooster Teeth. And if you decide to work on Rooster Teeth, don't be a complaining little shit, because that's your own life decision. Like, nobody is like responsible for your life decision, unless of course someone like tied you up and put the gun to your head and like forced you to work on Ruby or something. But I really don't think that's the case. I'm not getting paid as the animator. Like, all this complaint is complete bullshit. Just quit your fucking job, dude. Nobody is responsible for your shitty life decisions. Stay at your home and relax if you really want to relax. And if you're starving to death, you can always, you know, steal in order to survive. Truth of the matter is, a lot of these fucking Americans is that they're not that desperate to, they're not starving, you know. They're not starving to the point that robbery is their only option. You know, they complain. They're like, oh, I know, I'm doing my own favorite job of becoming an animator. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm not fighting for my own survival or anything. But, you know, these companies are just not paying me. You know, you could always, you know, dick suck a politician. You can always, you know, be in a politician's whore or something. You can create an OnlyFans account. If you really want to make money, truth of the matter is, none of us are really that desperate. Even me, who's like doing all this stuff, I can't complain about money because, truth be told, I'm not that desperate. I have never ever in my life starved to death. I never had to, like, I don't know, kill in order to survive. I never really had to turn into a desperate situation where I needed to rob someone in order to find food. You really don't have any right to complain, because you have food, you have shelter, and that's about it. That's the most important two things. And those two things are, as I think after those two things are fulfilled, it kind of becomes a first person problem in my view. Like, oh, I am doing my dream job as an animator, and I'm not making any money. You know who's also not making money? Me.
Gus spends at least $1,000 a week flying airplanes as a hobby, and Bernie goes and buys the ugliest Tesla known to man.
Oh yeah, I guess. You know, you can always, you know, create your own company in the animation industry and do your stuff. It's kind of your own fault for not working on other people. It's kind of the thing about teamwork, right? In the sense that people don't value themselves. And a lot of this, when a team is working, a lot of these people who are on the leadership side are going to get a lot of money. But here's the thing. If you don't like that, just quit. Be your own master. Nobody's stopping you from... I actually did manage to make a visual novel. I used to think that it was kind of impossible for one person to do that. But it's kind of like, it's entirely possible for you to write your own story, produce your own stuff, do your own marketing, do your own animation stuff, do all the voices yourself. And sometimes you can like collab with some other people. Do stuff like that. Complaining about Bernie and stuff being rich is kind of bullshit. Like, I honestly want to say, straight up turn around and say, people who are complaining about money, especially like the complaints about money are kind of bullshit. Those racist remarks are kind of like unfortunate. But at the same time, I also think there's a lot of problem wrong with these people who are complaining, especially about money. Because at the end of the day, nobody gets rich when they're like selfish or when they're untalented. A lot of these people who are like rich are also very lucky, but they're also like really smart and they're also really talented. They thought about making something that's helpful to people. They also thought about marketing, and they also thought about economy and how to handle money really well. Skill issue, I guess. To be fair, I'm not really rich or something is because I'm also not real talented, you know. My English is not the greatest thing ever, and I can't animate for shit. I haven't learned how to work on Unity. I haven't learned C#. I'm still struggling on it. And when I write, I also write really slowly. There are a lot of like writers that are online on Archive of Our Own or on Scribble Hub. You should definitely check out Scribble Hub. It's such an amazing site. And there are also certain people like Mudan who makes amazing edits. And I'm just like not very great at that. I'm kind of a jack in all trades. I'm not like super untalented, but at the same time, I'm not the greatest, most talented person ever. All this money management is kind of bullshit, you know. If you're working for a shitty ass job, like working day in and out for essentially what you don't enjoy, and you're like not making any money in the process, it's your own fault, dude. You have the option to not work here. You can just give Bernie the middle finger and leave. You have always to have this option.
It wasn't until I got bought out by an actual corporation with some semblance of standards that things started to change. Well, it's too little too late, at least for me.
And it's kind of like your own fault if you're like too attached to Ruby. And yes, I could like make a case for myself, like if I like waste too much time on Ruby or something and then go broke or something, I have only myself to blame. I can't just say Ruby made me broke because I got addicted to Ruby. That's a stupid logic. You're the one who's got addicted. And I know a lot of people who work here on this Rooster Teeth want to work on Rooster Teeth because they love Ruby. And then they kind of realize that, oh wait, all these people are abusing my love for Ruby and like shilling me out. Just quit, bro. At that point, just quit.
So after learning about all of this, I was really put off by the idea of discussing the show for a while.
See, that's the dumb ass thing. Even Judgemental Critter is kind of like dumb for this because you should like actually discuss more of the show because these people have been underworked. Okay, sure, KTN or certain people who are complaining about money. But do you know how many people in this industry that are working day in and out and not complaining jack shit about anything at all? That's the truth about making money. Is the fact that if you make an internet account and you whine and complain about how much you are starving and how much you are exploited and whatnot, you kind of make money because people feel pity for you and they give money to you. But there are so many people who are poor, who are hardworking, who love their job, and also who don't complain jack shit at all. There are so many people who are working on Rooster Teeth who don't make a lot of money, and they also don't complain because they don't care about money. That's how it goes. So in that sense, I also think complaining about money is stupid. If you're that desperate about money, you can always rob someone. That's an amazing way to make money. In all honesty, yeah, it's illegal, but you know, that's technically an option. If you're a female, you can always dick ride some politician or like some rich dude's ass. That's always an option if money is that important to you. Truth of the matter is, nobody is like that desperate in order to survive. Like nobody is like homeless. Like it's your own fault for overworking yourself to death. And even when it comes to Monty or something, like nobody killed Monty. Like Monty wasn't that desperate in order to like survive. He wasn't like going homeless if he like got out of Rooster Teeth and he was like forced to work at Rooster Teeth or anything. It's kind of his own fault for like burning like a phoenix and working day in and out and out. You know, Monty and a lot of these animators who love their craft are like Phoenix, you know. They burn the brightest and they like burn themselves in their own fire the fastest. I really stopped like complaining about art as soon as I actually like worked really hard on my web novels and my visual novels, because so much work has gone into this. And you people have pirated this. I pirate Ruby. This is the truth. I didn't give a single cent to these people. I watched their show for free. And these people have worked their ass off, create this amazing show with amazing characters, amazing storytelling. And I almost want to cry thinking about this, because it's almost like a giant sacrifice, because these people have been like working day in and all out. Their team have done an amazing job, almost as impressive as Team Ruby or whatever these characters are doing. Because in order for like a show to something like this degree to exist, you're working like so many people, so many talented people work together, and you as a viewer are pirating this show, watching it for free, and you have the right to bitch and moan and complain about it. So in that sense, it's kind of amazing. It's kind of amazing how all of these people like did all of this stuff for free and not complaining about it.
Constant problems. Problems with the voice actors, the writers, management, just generally hammering home how dreadful Rooster Teeth really is. And as I got to thinking about it...
Even you yourself is kind of like, how did Judgemental Critter like help, you know? If anything, I think Judgemental Critter is trying to find excuses for piracy. I'm not saying piracy is like great or something like that. I'm not saying like nobody care, like watching everything for free and not giving money is like great. I'm not saying nobody like giving a shit about art is great. Money is a responsibility. Taking care of other people is a responsibility. If you truly love about the show, then it's your responsibility to learn more about the show, about its creators, then learn and see through their talent, and see who's the asshole, who's the actual like good person who has a loving heart and whatnot, and support those loving people with money and care. Or maybe money isn't just that important, you know. Maybe you could like go towards America, go towards Texas, find these people, become good friends with them, and support them emotionally, you know. Money is not the only way to support these people. Maybe these people desperately need housing. Maybe these people need, I don't know, teamwork in their next show. Or maybe these people need protections from angry mobs. You know, when you're a popular TV show or writer or a director or something like that, then certain people might try to kill you. So maybe you can do these people's bodyguards. You know, that's also a possibility. The point is, I really, really hate the hypocrisy of Judgemental Critter. It's almost like all this complaining and talking about could just straight up turn around and say, oh, I'm justified in this hating this show because all these people who are working on the show are assholes. That's a stupid logic. Like, drop this dumb logic, okay? At the end of the day, you're just trying to find excuses for your own hatred. Your hatred was towards, you know, the creators of the show at a certain point. Then your hatred is shifting towards the hatred towards Bernie or the producers or people who are behind this. At the end of the day, you're still hating. You were hating Ruby for having a bad writing. Then now you're hating on the Bernie and stuff, Bernie or directors or the higher-ups for having money. The only crime that Bernie ever did was have money. Have a little bit of a wealthy life. Boo-hoo.
All of that hate out of me.
You know, if these people are like, were really that desperate for money, you could like beg. I'm kind of like jobless because of my own pride, you know. It's kind of my own fault for being jobless. Because even in regards to like joblessness, you have no right to complain. Because just things are just the way they are. I could like go and find the most richest woman and try to like, hey babe, you know, I heard you're rich. I could like sell myself out and be a little rich lady's boy toy, I guess. But you know, I'm too prideful to do something like that. But at the same time, the option's there. You know, if I really, really want to find money, the option's there. I could, I don't know, do something like a crime or I don't know, do an NFT scam, do a Bitcoin scam, the option's there for me to do stuff like that, to find money like that. The option's always there.